Yay, Jared.
What's going on?
We're just sitting around watching Washington Capitals and Montreal Canadiens.
What's that, 2 teams?
Yeah.
Wow. I never thought, I didn't think you were into that type of stuff.
I'm more into watching genetically engineered people. They have a few of those in hockey.
Oh,
Practically all sports have genetically engineered people.
Oh, yeah. That's when you look at, follow the basketball players, you can see that they're engineered when you look at their parents and all their family. And this was interesting, too. You should look at the numbers that the really popular ones have that they've done. Like
Tiger Woods, Wayne Gretzky.
Michael Jordan had 23, 32. They like using that number a lot, 32.
4, number 8.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all their hallmark numbers.
No, the Washington Capitals have a Russian player by the name of Ovechkin. Yeah, if anybody's been made to play hockey, it's him.
Now, did you ever look into his family and?
Except you can't get much information out of Russia.
Oh. Why is that, you think? Because of the different...
Just watch him play, and he plays like a machine. Never basically backs down in front of anything. Can score goals while flipping upside down, backwards, left to right, up and down in the air. It's an amazing machine. It's like Tiger when he's on,
Yeah, these are the things I see, I do things similar to that. You just add to that unfinished symphony, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but down here, Glenn...
They may be guys that would be worth having as the part of the 13, because they might have some information in their genetic makeup that can fill holes, especially Tiger.
Do you think that, in his genetic, I don't know, just guessing, you think his genetic makeup is older, a lot, really old, or?
Well, it's very task specific. It may mean that he's much more different than the average person who basically does a little bit of everything. Don't know if Tiger Woods could do anything but golf.
So, yeah, the knowledge that's in that DNA is probably all really, golf concentrated.
Yeah.
So how do you think he would be able to...
Well, it's just because he's so different that you never know what piece you might be missing.
Oh. But a guy like that, I don't know if they would even... Because they're so watched, that their whole life is controlled. And
maybe up to last year, he would never consider such a thing. But since then, I have a feeling that he's going to end up deciding that there are more important things in life than batting a ball around. Maybe I'm overly hopeful, but it wouldn't surprise me.
That's how you seem. I don't know, from reading your own newspapers, you weren't just the idea a lot of people got from Alan Watt, he was basically a defeatist type of person. When people say that about me, they think that I'm defeatist because I say everything's rigged, but it may seem like that, I guess, at the beginning when people talk to me, though. But like, once you realize it all, I guess you have to realize it all to actually get to real solutions. So,
well, there's a big difference between being a defeatist and being a realist.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people who search, if they do it correctly and don't depend on the system to offer them solutions, will in the end become realists. And that's bothersome to a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
When they see somebody who says it as it is, doesn't play the game, you know.
Yeah.
There's no political bent to what they say. They just say what they believe.
Well, part of the thinking in the Western world is something like it always has to end happy or a happy ending. I think that's part of the media too. They indoctrinate. They use always some type of retribution, justice.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I don't think in reality or ultimate reality doesn't work like that. I don't think so. I guess it's based off the fact that I guess there is a truth in that. Like, I don't want to say karmic law or anything, but I don't know. Like when you do something that's unbeneficial, you may mistake it as something beneficial, but in the end, it's.
I would not tend to believe in the concept of karma, meaning you have to pay a price for the things you did wrong in the past. I don't really think that that's what's intended.
I think karmic law is just like used for like some type of discontrol.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is like you may see something that instant gratification you benefited in the short run, but in the long run,
right?
You don't.
I think it's you have to learn, and the things you learned the last time, you don't need to learn over this time. And the things you didn't learn the last time is what you have basically to concentrate on, and
I think
that's as close to karma as I can get.
yeah. I really can't get too close to it either.
The word suggests that a mother drives the car. There may be something in that.
Yeah.
Ma's car.
Yeah.
You know, Mother Superior, I'm sure, has something to do with it, but I don't think driving a car is what she does.
I think there's something in that word. I was looking at it today. Abyss, Y, super slave. Why is there a Y between the super slave and the
shapeshifter?
Right.
The two S's are for shapeshifting. The Y has been shapeshifted. And the beginning of the building of a Y is 1, 2. So down the abyss you go if you do it wrong, so that you can be
recombined. I think that's the worst punishment somebody could have is just not being able to learn, and just that's what it seems like to me.
I think every minute of every day not spent trying to learn something is a waste of time. Doesn't matter what you're doing. It matters how you do it and how you're trying to learn what you're doing, do it better, doing differently, do it faster, do it slower, whatever.
Yeah.
In any event, each person has to come to their own conclusion on all of that stuff. And for a lot of people, the conclusion will be different.
Mm-hmm.
That's the beauty of it, is that there are many approaches to doing things. And the more people adapt a way of doing things, the more choices a beginner has to pick a route that is more in line with their own personality. After all, social engineering has happened before you start thinking. So you have to live with what you have and work your way out of it, or improve upon it, at least.
Yeah, me, I feel like I have to work my way out of my environment.
Out of what you were put into.
Yeah.
You look at your situation and being stuck in a place like New York is really inconvenient, but it's not the worst.
Yeah, I mean, I do learn. Yeah. Living in New York, I say this with Danny. We always say this all the time. Like, when we talk to other people, say, from other parts of the U.S.,
there's a lot of things that come to you there.
Yeah, because I get to meet all types of different people, and there's a lot, like, people here, a lot of people are smart. You know, like, this place, this environment, this area got me, I guess, smarter, a lot younger. But I know, like, if you live in, like, say, a Midwestern town and over here in the U.S., like, a lot of people get naive to certain things. Because,
imagine if you were born smart in Somalia. And you live in a camp in a desert. With no lights, nothing to challenge you, no job, no work of any kind to challenge you as a person. That would be like hell. Me. At least when you're in a place where you're not involved, but things are happening, you can learn from the sidelines. And then when your chance comes, you can make the best of it. You've had different options.
Well,
New York is of course a different place than most places in the world, and because of the population that has come in from all over the world, the options, the different ways of looking at things are all there within a few miles of where you happen to be at any time. So. But when you get to be my age, that's not where you get the information anymore. That's a place for those people who are working their way up to 40.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like, I've been noticing, like, with certain avenues, I guess, I would learn off certain avenues, and then I can't learn anymore from that. Like, I have to do something different.
Well, guys like you are a little further ahead than most when it comes to learning, so you shouldn't have to wait to be 40 if you've come to some conclusions before then. Got to remember, you start dying at 27.
What a way to look at it, man. Is that a realist attitude?
Well, just look at the human bodies, how they grow and get stronger and more active and more energy and everything up until 27. And from that point on, the body itself becomes part of the restrictions you live with.
You think that was something that was set in?
your mind grows, your body drags behind.
How do you think the physical, like how it was for like original people? You think they had these restrictions, or?
Well, because they lived outdoors and did more exercise, I would imagine the body was in better shape than most people who live in cities. But also the dangers were greater, so you could balance that off by, if you break an arm, who fixes it? You have a toothache, how can you get beyond that?
Well, I actually looked into the whole thing with teeth, and you'll see that part of the reason why people get like all types of cavities because at a certain period in time, all the food people had was just all the sugar was refined, and it creates and the bacteria that was natural in your mouth actually attack it. It makes it worse.
More likely, teeth breaking in conditions other than urban areas would have been the problem. You got a broken tooth, it hurts.
Yeah.
Nobody around to fix it.
You just deal with a lot of pain back
there. Diet because of it. All of that can have an impact.
I heard Washington too. I heard he had all wooden teeth in his mouth.
What are you doing?
Me?
What are you physically doing when you wake up in the morning and say another day has begun?
I wake up usually, because my days are weird. Sometimes I'll wake up and I'll say, okay, let me read this book or something. And usually the way, because it's all my what I do is it revolves around my job. So if I'm usually the night before, I'm up late, talking maybe to different people on the phone or reading or on the computer. There's not really much I could do in this environment that I'm in.
You work around beer a lot. Does that mean you get to finish all the empties? Or?
Yeah, that's what I have to do. I have to put away people's trash all day. I get kind of nasty, Glenn. I turn to it's turning me to a nasty person. I just don't want to talk. I try to it's hard for me to black out things because my senses are just, I gotta analyze everything. But it's just I see it's so routine. You can predict what people are going to say to you. People, it's just I'm walking in a rerun video or TV show, and it's kind of hard. It runs its toll on my mind. This, seeing time running out for me, and just how people just basically around me bending over and taking it, not caring, whatever. But. And then I deal with just attitudes, egos, at my job also, my manager, he'll say, oh, you read all this stuff. He's like, you just read all this stuff. He's like, what did he say? He says, you just read all this stuff. You don't know anything, man. He goes, you just read what other people say in these books, man. He's like, you gotta go, you haven't done what I done. He's like, I've climbed mountains. I went across deserts. I did that. And he's always uses this argument with me, and I don't argue, okay, you've climbed mountains or whatever, but just because I don't know, just because you climb a mountain, I don't know.
You climb a mountain, you've lived a few days or a few months of your life. If you read in the same period of time 4 or 5 books, you've studied 4 or 5 people's lives. It's not comparable. It's totally different activity.
Yeah.
And a person who puts somebody down because they do one thing rather than another really doesn't grasp the concept of, thank goodness nobody ever said we all have to be the same.
Yeah, I get put down, like he puts me down a lot, man. Like he'll say...
Can you imagine if everyone was a king? Or everyone was a garbage picker?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Famous.
Thank goodness that some people want to be other things.
Yeah, like what guy says to me, he'll say one thing like, he's like, look at you, what do you have? What do you have? What do you do? He's like, you have no social life, man. What do you do? What do you do? What do you have? He's like, look, you're still living at home. You don't have anything. What do you just read? That's all you do? Is that all you do? I don't know. It's
a task that somebody has to do. And it's a task that somebody likes to do.
Yeah. You know? No, because he'll get mad at me when I say, yo, I hate this job. I hate what I'm doing. This is just slavery right here. And I don't know. He lives in the world like somehow he's supposed to get respect or whatever if you work 1,000 hours or like a respectable, I don't know, it's what a man should do.
Is that your boss you're talking
Yeah.
about? Yeah.
I really, most of the time, I don't say anything to him. I just come in and just, because I know it's not going to, this is somebody I would never hang out with. Or
remember that any boss is just a person who hires people to be an extension of himself.
Yeah.
So he's not looking for something different, and he's looking for himself.
Yeah, and what he does, he's funny. This guy is like, it's like no matter how much work that I do, like he'll always come down on you like it's not good enough for him. It's so that's why I don't break my neck. I do like my job and I do the task that I have to do, but he wants me to like do it like enthusiastically and
make your life his.
I'm just like, no. I'm like, yeah, you're crazy. He's been to like on my blog. He's like, I seen that stuff. He's like, I seen that stuff on your blog, man. He goes, yo, you're this far away from what's his name? What's the guy's name? Jim Jones. You're a cult, man. Oh, man. It's like Tom was telling me somebody told him that they thought he was insane. Oh, man, I've gotten that too. You know, people think I'm crazy.
Just remember that in history, after they die, most of the people that are looked up to were looked upon as being nuts while they were living in their world. But then the world catches up to them, and they start looking better and better every day to people who are lagging 20 years behind or 50 years behind.
You know why, right? You know why? It's like Jonathan Livingston Seagull. He's like just the head of the fashion, he calls it. He's the head. When they say when people don't understand you, they make you a god or a devil. Yeah. And you're neither. You're just the head of the thought or whatever. And you're not really, I guess you head of the established stuff, but
phases of life, the experiences you get allows you to make better choices as you go along, or worse choices, and end up suffering because of it. There's no such thing as wrong or right. It's just different.
That's where I guess people, they beat themselves up in life, thinking they make the wrong choices. But really, they were...
look at people who've been in jail like Mandela and those people. When they were in jail, most people would have looked at them as criminals.
Yeah.
And today they adore them.
So. Yeah, what was the deal with Mandela? Because this guy, obviously I see him like he works for the system, but the whole time he was in jail, that was part of his agreement with them? Or?
Brainwashing occurs in jail.
Oh, okay.
When you take control of a person's life, you limit his ability to move around and leave when he wants, come when he wants. That sets the stage. And depending on how much they want to use you, they will either ignore you or abuse you. A guy like Mandela, I would presume, may have entered jail with a certain view of life, but under the domination of the system for more than 6 years is what it takes. After that, he was in jail for a long time, much more than 6 years.
Yeah, he was gone for a while.
So he would basically, because he's a politician, by nature he would bend to please along the way, and at the end, the system benefits from the new man much more than he does. He does as well, physically and temporarily and instant gratification-wise. But the system benefits more.
Some people, I notice a lot, like some people like that work for them, they keep around for a very long time. Like, I look at Arthur C. Clarke. This guy lived till he was 90.
Yep.
And I was wondering, why would they keep him alive so long? I guess they needed him.
They have to have heroes for people. They have to make people work. 90% of the people fall into the category that you would call middle, and they're just basically living from pay to pay, existing. Every now and then they get a perk, like they win the right to have a mortgage, or payments on a car. Never can they basically feel while they're young that they own things because of anything they did. Things were either given to them by the system or they were allowed to become debtors.
Yeah, that's what that movie, The Brotherhood of the Bell, they show that pretty good. How they just give them things. But like when you look at guys like say, I don't know, like Joseph Stalin, Mao Zedong, Hitler, these guys are just like, they just time bombs and they just put them out there knowing that they're going to explode, and they let them explode and then shut them down. Is that what they do with these type of people? Because when you look at Adolf Hitler, he was funded. You could see he was basically guided, and then they just pulled the rug from under him and said, okay, we don't need you anymore.
They create fear. Guys like Stalin. And fear is a powerful controlling factor, much more powerful than love. So at times the system decides to go the fear way.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the main avenues of control they use.
But most of the time, the 90% of the people in the middle, they just do what they're told and never get to do what they want to do. While at the same time, their biggest fear is falling below the poverty line, and their biggest hope is becoming instantly wealthy. So, hey, if you can escape that whole thing and begin to do the things you want to do, then yeah, that's different. And the system really hates you when you're doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
And they'll try to use everybody, even though you may think you're escaping, you always have to be on guard that you're not being used by the system.
Yeah. You know what? I'm a lot wiser now, and when I look at certain women, most women, and I see them like years ago, I would have seen, I'd say, a pretty girl, and you chase after her. But now I realize it's just like it's a trap. It's just a lot of
yourself off completely.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm not going after every woman that I see. I actually because you see like in psychology wise, like how women are. Like you could just see the type of person who a lot of these women are, like type of mind frame they have, just from looking at, using your deductive reasoning or whatever. Just look. What happened?
You can have relationships with women without falling into the trap of marriage. That's the trap for them and for you.
But they're the ones that want that. Like,
yeah,
not all of them though.
Because they used to have the power, and they were put in a position of no power, living in a bag in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And so they would like to have some of the power back, if there are those people still left, if they're not all remade and programmed.
Yeah.
You always have to give every person a chance to show who they are.
Well, I do, but it's not hard for me to learn easily because they don't know what I'm looking for. They don't know. I see, because I have totally different view of the world than most people. And what I see, I learned from just experience that I had in the past. What I do, Glenn, is I listen to my experience.
Well, I'm 70 years old, was married twice, lived with a woman long enough to be married for a third one.
Well, you had different experience than me, Glenn.
Had all of those experiences. Am happy, happier than I've ever been because I'm not married, but I would still enjoy the company of women.
Mm-hmm. You're not bitter at all, right?
No, not at all.
Mm.
I think with 2 out of the 3, I spent 4 years, and that was the right amount of time.
Mm.
The other one was the first one, and we had a family, and I hung around for 25 years. And that was too long. But
wow.
There were, commitments and guilt trips and obligations and what have you. So, but I don't think that after the 4 years that I was the cause of anything or my wife was the cause of anything. It's just normal that, the time expires and you move on.
But some people refuse to believe that.
Society.
Some people, may refuse to believe that and may think that's just, you just want to sleep with other people and be selfish. Yeah.
That's life.
Mm-hmm.
You have to live parts of it and make your own decisions as you're going through. What's good for you is not necessarily good or right for someone else, but what's good for someone else is not good or right for you. So you've been given a set of attributes, skills, talents, and it's up to you to find out what those are and maximize that. You will. You have enough intelligence, common sense, smarts, whatever, and you're young enough. You have the time, if they don't kill us all before then. Then you won't have to worry about it. You get to skip this one.
Yeah. I had another dream, again, nightmare today, Glenn. Second time, man. Like, I've been really working on this passport thing, and I had this dream again that I was in water, just water everywhere. And somehow I saw a floating garbage can in the water, and I was like paddling. But I remember what you said. It's not.
We are in the age of Aquarius.
It's not a good thing for anybody to panic or worry all the time.
I look at it this way. If we are in the age of Aquarius, we have a task assigned to us as a population of the world. That's to be water bearers. So better to be carrying a can of water to the goats than sitting in a can on top of water floating around. So we're basically doing the task assigned to this generation and making sure that cans get filled up with water and they get lugged over, and that we don't swear just because we put a can of water down and it immediately kicks it over and dumps it on the ground. You have to go get another one. You know.
Let me ask you a question.
Think of it, somebody did it for you when you were a kid.
Yeah. That's why I like when I look at my mother, I'm like, I'm really appreciative, and I like, I appreciate that, like, and even though she's like I get nagged at a lot for a lot of things, but I appreciate the time that she took out to nurture me and stuff.
Yeah, there was a time when there was no other option. If she wasn't going to do it, it wouldn't get done.
Yeah,
and you have to be thankful that you got through that period. One piece.
My mom, she's really she could be really patient with a lot of things. Like, she's patient with my father and stuff. There's things that I see that he does that I don't think I can have the patience anymore, because I just think about all the hell, like, he's put me through since I was younger. Like, and it's because the way he was raised, and he's just passing on this cancer to me, and my mom, she still deals with the things that he does.
You got to remember, though, that there is a big difference between living your life and your parents living theirs. When our parents were alive, there was no reason to believe that the world wouldn't live forever, continue on forever. But in our age, it's hard to believe that we'll make it to tomorrow morning. You know, the instruments of disaster are there in front of us every day.
That's why I think like why me? Why in my lifetime right now?
They needed you, George. Think of it that way.
Yeah, I do think of that.
That's why we're here. They needed us. They may not like us, but they needed us. In any event, I'm going to leave you now.
You're gonna watch it, continue watching your genetically.
My company.
Oh. All right. Enjoy watching your genetically modified sports players and.
I beg your pardon?
I said, enjoy watching your genetically modified sports players.
Modified sports players. I gotta keep an eye on this guy Ovechkin because I'm trying to figure out how he sees behind his head, and he seems to be able to do things without ever looking in that direction, and that might be a helpful hint for me later on.
Well, what's his name? Well, how you break down his name, Ovechkin? What does that mean? Then?
Well, he has Che in his name, which means you can expect him to be a guerrilla.
Che.
Guerrilla fighter.
Like Che Guerrero?
And you have to expect that he has it in two directions. He has it ECH and he has CHI. So he's very much a person who's burning the candle at both ends. I want to see how it affects him. But beyond that, he seems to be able to see in both directions at the same time.
Yeah.
So it may not just be a physical attribute. He may have something in his head that might be useful to us in the long run. So I'll speak to you again.
Okay. All right. Well.